conversation with Joe Calley from the Wounded Warrior Project. He played in our tournament last year, and he runs golf clinics for Wounded Warrior Project installations at different forts in the southeast. And he said, just casually, that they had a hard time getting equipment for guys, and it actually kind of coincided with people from Martin's calling me and wanting to donate equipment that they really had nothing to do with anymore because it was really old or outdated. Couldn't use it. They did some things with the first tee, but they had so much stuff that they thought this would be a nice use. So the people at Martin's really kind of got the ball rolling for us, so to speak.
And what was your involvement before with Wounded Warrior? How did you I see some names back there on the sign. Tell me your family, your sons?
My sons were Army infantry officers. They were both deployed at the same time to Iraq, and I was bored, and rather than watching the news all the time, checking out where the latest casualties were coming from, I decided to do something. They had some friends that were killed or wounded, so I wanted to do something good, occupy my time.
And how is this? Seems like it's going well. It seems
is.
Like people have clubs for one reason or another. Either they get new sets, or they stop playing, or people have other people's clubs. I mean, any clubs will do. Right?
Any clubs will do. What we're doing is we're giving them, most of the equipment we're giving them to use in the clinics. Some of the equipment we're actually trading with a club company for brand new sets to give the guys when they graduate from the clinics. It's about an 8-week clinic. They have to take a test, an etiquette test. So it's a nice program, and golf is a good rehab vehicle for some of these folks. So
why is that?
That's what we're doing. I'm not sure. Actually, Joe Calley, my point guy with the Wounded Warrior Project, he's a success story with golf as a rehab tool, and I think that he probably pretty much runs their programs for golf as a rehab tool.
So where can folks bring these clubs?
They can bring them to Martin's in North Myrtle Beach or the Myrtle Beach store, or both Bandit Golf locations. There's one in North Myrtle Beach, and there's one down here on the south end of Arizona.
And pretty easy. This is another example of just something simple to help this cause, right? I mean, it's just
something simple. And also, we're a 501c3 corporation, so folks can get a write-off. We can provide a letter.
What have you been most surprised with this effort? Has anything really surprised you in terms of response, or all these golf balls, all these clubs, or whatever? I mean, is anything?
Well, it's kind of funny because as much as we do on social media, I think the thing that probably hit a nerve the most was, being a golfer myself. Everybody has clubs in their closet or in the garage that for some reason they hate, where the clubs don't work. So I put that in my appeal, and of course that's what you wind up with. You wind up with a lot of unloved equipment.
But someone's going to love it.
But somebody's going to love it. That's right. Somebody will get some value out of it. So
maybe somebody's getting a new set for Christmas.
That's
and
right.
Upgrading, and so maybe they need to get rid of their old ones if they're not going to use them.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll take anything. I have some antiques, and I have some relatively new stuff. So anything is good.
Youth size is good too for a specific reason, right?
Yes, actually, some equipment does have to be modified depending on the wounds and what those needs are. So yeah, some does have to be adapted.
Anything else you wanted to say that I didn't ask you, or?
Yes, please don't forget our golf tournament in September 2012 at the Legends.
What's the name? Tell me the whole name of it.
It's Tee Off for a Cause. We're on the web, teeoffforacause.org. Folks can email me. It's fred@teeoffforacause.org. Phone number, you can call me if you need clubs picked up. If you can't make it to the stores, 843-333-7974. If you can ship them, if you're out of the area and you want to ship them, just call me and I'll give you the address.
And churches are starting to pick up on. I mean, it's every day probably. It sounds like there's something new going on.
Right. Our church, Precious Blood in Pawleys Island, is helping out. The Knights there are helping out. I've had any number of people from different neighborhoods, golf neighborhoods especially, contact me and say that they've talked to other guys in their golf groups or at their clubs and help. Some of the pros have helped with Lost and Found. So it's been great. It's been really good.
And there's not these clinics are not in South Carolina, or they're not in Myrtle Beach. These
Right.
were in
Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Gordon in Georgia, and Fort Benning. I believe they're doing some in different installations like Fort Hood in Texas and probably out in California. But since we've just started, it's really just the focus around here. And then we'll, of course, branch out to the other installations if they need equipment.
Okay.
So,
All right. Anything else you wanted to say?
no, just, thank you. Remember, these guys, men and women, need your help. And that's all we're trying to do is just give them some help.